What if the uneasiness you carry is not a weakness, but a warning? What if the inner pressure you feel is not anxiety, but alignment trying to happen? Have you ever asked yourself why you can't fully relax into the life you're living? Why your spirit keeps scanning the horizon for something more, something truer? These questions are not accidents. They are interruptions. They are meant to pull you out of autopilot and force you to confront a truth you have delayed for a long time. Your life is not random, and your presence here is not incidental. You are not listening to this by chance. You did not arrive here because you were bored or curious. There are moments when heaven reaches through the noise and taps a specific soul. This is one of those moments. You have felt it long before now, the sense that you were marked, that your life carries an invisible weight, that there is more required of you than routine survival. Even when things looked fine on the surface, something inside you remained unsettled. That restlessness is not ingratitude, it is awareness. Look at the pattern of your life. From early on, you were different. Not better different. You saw things others ignored. You felt things more deeply. You questioned what others accepted without thought. And because of that, you often found yourself on the outside, not rejected loudly, but quietly excluded. You learned how to stand alone before you ever wanted to. You learned endurance before comfort, and you learned silence before celebration. This was not accidental. You were being shaped. The call says, "Come alone," because alone is where truth can finally speak without interference. Alone is where masks fall. Alone is where you stop absorbing everyone else's expectations and begin hearing what was placed inside you before opinions ever touched you. God does not reveal everything in crowds. Some instructions are too precise, too costly, too holy to be given publicly. You were separated not because you lacked connection, but because you required clarity. You may have wondered why certain doors closed without explanation, why relationships dissolved when you needed them most, why support disappeared at critical moments. But what felt like loss was actually protection. If certain people had stayed, you might have stayed small. If certain doors had remained open, you might have settled. Heaven sometimes removes what is familiar so you can finally face what is true. There is a tension rising in you now because this is not just reflection, it is confrontation. You are being confronted with yourself, with your calling, with the reality that delay has a cost. You can feel that something is about to shift, but shifts demand decisions. You are approaching a threshold where neutrality is no longer an option, not because God is forcing you, but because growth requires direction. Ask yourself honestly, how long have you sensed this calling? How many times have you silenced it with distraction, busyness, or logic? How often have you told yourself later, "When I'm ready," not realizing readiness comes after obedience, not before it? Delay does not erase destiny, but it does deepen discomfort. The heaviness you feel is not punishment. It is pressure inviting movement. You have been preserved for a reason. Situations that should have broken you refined you instead. Moments meant to harden you softened your heart while sharpening your discernment. You learned how to read between words, how to sense motives, how to stand firm without becoming bitter. These were not personality traits you developed accidentally. They were capacities installed deliberately. You were never meant to be a background presence in your own life. You were never designed to shrink your voice, mute your conviction, or live beneath your awareness. The fear that whispers for you to stay quiet, to stay safe, to stay invisible, it did not come from God. It came from resistance. Resistance always shows up when movement is near. At the center of this moment is not chaos, but remembrance. There is a truth about you that predates your mistakes, your fears, and even your name. It is a truth spoken before you had language, before you had choice, before you had opportunity to fail or succeed. And that truth is being reactivated now. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah, chapter 1, verse 5. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you. This is not metaphor, this is origin. You were known before you were seen, set apart before you were recognized, appointed before you were qualified. Your calling is older than your insecurity, older than your doubt, older than every reason you've used to disqualify yourself. What you are feeling now is not new pressure, it is old truth resurfacing. Coming alone means acknowledging that your life cannot be reduced to coincidence anymore. It means accepting that you are accountable to what you know. You don't need all the answers yet. You don't need a full map. You only need honesty. Honesty about what has been stirring. Honesty about what you've been avoiding. Honesty about what you're ready to face. This moment will pass, but it will not disappear. If you ignore it, it will return louder. If you honor it, it will begin to guide you. Do not rush, but do not dismiss. Alignment starts with recognition. If this message is awakening something in you, mark the moment. Like this message, share it with someone who is also being stirred. Subscribe so you remain connected, and comment the number 77 below as a sign that you acknowledge the call and choose awareness over avoidance. 77. Coming alone was never about punishment. It was about precision. When heaven separates you, it is not because you failed to belong, but because you were never meant to be diluted by belonging to the wrong things. You have spent enough time questioning why your path narrowed while others seem to walk wide roads filled with companionship, affirmation, and noise. But now you are beginning to see that solitude was not absence. It was instruction without interference. There are truths that cannot be spoken when too many voices are present. There are assignments that collapse under the weight of opinion. This is why your life has repeatedly been stripped down to essentials. Friends faded, familiar structures dissolved, conversations became fewer but deeper. Silence followed you, not to empty you, but to make room. In the quiet, you were not abandoned. You were being taught how to listen. At first, the separation felt cruel. You wondered why God would remove people you loved, why He would allow misunderstanding to linger without correction, why He would let you walk through seasons where no one seemed to truly see you. But vision is not sharpened in crowds. Discernment is not developed in constant affirmation. Authority is not built where everything is comfortable. You were being trained to stand without leaning. The reason you had to come alone is because what is being formed in you cannot be crowdsourced. Your calling is not a committee decision. It does not require consensus. It requires obedience. And obedience is forged when there is no audience to impress, no applause to chase, no comparison to distract you. Alone, you learned who you are without mirrors. Alone, you discovered what remains when titles, roles, and expectations fall away. You began to notice something subtle during those isolated seasons. Your sensitivity increased. You could sense shifts before they happened. You felt unease where others felt peace, and peace where others felt panic. You saw beneath words, beneath smiles, beneath systems. This awareness was not making you strange, it was making you accurate. And accuracy requires solitude. Noise dulls perception. Silence sharpens it. Many chosen ones mistake separation for rejection because the world teaches that value is measured by visibility. But heaven operates differently. Heaven often hides what it values most. Seeds grow underground. Muscles strengthen under resistance. Vision develops in darkness. You were hidden because exposure too early would have damaged what was still forming. Protection often looks like isolation before it looks like promotion. You may have struggled with loneliness, but loneliness and aloneness are not the same. Loneliness is the ache for connection. Aloneness is the space where connection is redefined. In that space, you were confronted with your own thoughts, fears, motives, and desires. You could no longer distract yourself with other people's expectations. You had to face yourself honestly. That confrontation was necessary. God does not build on illusion. He builds on truth. There were moments when you wanted to go back to familiarity, back to comfort, back to environments where you didn't have to be so aware, so responsible, so awake. But something in you refused. Even when you were tired of being strong, you could not unsee what you had seen. Once awareness is given, it cannot be returned. This is why the path forward has felt inevitable, even when it felt heavy. The isolation also revealed patterns. You began to recognize cycles in your life, repeated tests, familiar temptations, recurring choices. You started to see how certain doors closed not because of bad timing, but because of misalignment. You learned that not everything good is good for you. Discernment matured. You stopped chasing what looked appealing and started listening for what felt true. That shift marked growth. Heaven often removes external support to reveal internal capacity. You discovered strength you did not know you had. You learned how to pray when words failed, how to wait without reassurance, how to stand firm when nothing around you confirmed your direction. This endurance was not self-generated, it was cultivated. And cultivation takes time, pressure, and patience. There is a reason your calling could not be developed in public. The opinions of others would have shaped it prematurely. Comparison would have distorted it. Praise might have inflated it before it was grounded. So heaven created distance not forever, but for now. Distance to clarify your voice. Distance to anchor your identity. Distance to ensure that when you finally step forward, you do so from conviction, not craving. This pattern is ancient. Those who were entrusted with weighty assignments were often led away before they were sent out. The wilderness, the desert, the mountain. These were not detours, they were classrooms. Places where ego was stripped, where dependency shifted, where identity was redefined. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are in training. According to what is revealed in the book of Proverbs, chapter 18, verse 1. Whoever isolates himself seeks his own desire. He breaks out against all sound judgment. At first glance, these words seem like a warning against isolation, and they are but only against isolation driven by ego and rebellion. What you were led into was not self-chosen withdrawal, but God-ordained separation. The difference is motive. One flees accountability, the other submits to refinement. One rejects wisdom, the other is being prepared to carry it. You did not isolate yourself to escape responsibility. You were separated to receive it. You were not avoiding people. You were being aligned with purpose. And now, as this season begins to shift, you are emerging with clearer judgment, steadier conviction, and deeper roots. You know what you stand for because you have stood alone with it. Coming alone was never the destination. It was the process. The silence shaped your hearing. The distance refined your focus. The solitude clarified your assignment. And when you move forward from here, you will not be easily swayed. because you were not formed in noise. What you have been carrying did not begin recently. The weight you feel did not appear overnight. It has been accumulating quietly, layer by layer, season by season. Some of it came from responsibility placed on you too early. Some of it came from wounds you never had permission to process. Some of it came from expectations you never agreed to but felt forced to uphold. And yet, you kept moving, you kept functioning, you kept showing up. Not because it was easy, but because something in you understood that quitting was never an option. You have carried burdens no one applauded you for, emotional weight that never showed on your face, spiritual battles you never explained to anyone, decisions you made in silence that altered your entire trajectory. People assumed you were strong because you were quiet. They mistook your restraint for ease. They never saw the nights when your thoughts were heavy, when your spirit felt stretched thin, when you asked God questions you did not dare ask out loud. But heaven saw it all. There were moments you wanted to put the weight down, to live lighter, simpler, less aware. You watched others move freely while you moved carefully. You watched people celebrate while you calculated consequences. You watched friendships fracture while you chose integrity over comfort. And sometimes you wondered if you were doing something wrong. But deep down, you knew you were being entrusted, not punished. Weight is not given randomly. Heaven does not load fragile vessels with pressure they cannot survive. The reason you have carried more is because you could, not by your own strength, but by the strength being formed within you. Endurance is not loud, it is quiet faithfulness under pressure, and you have demonstrated it repeatedly even when no one noticed. The burden also sharpened you. You learned discernment the hard way. You learned when to speak and when silence carried more authority. You learned that not every battle requires confrontation, and not every invitation deserves your presence. You became selective, not arrogant, protective, not closed. This was maturity forming, not distance. And maturity often feels lonely while it is developing. Some of the weight came from betrayal, trust misplaced, loyalty unreturned. You gave more than you received, invested deeper than others were willing to go. When those connections fractured, you didn't just lose people, you lost parts of yourself you had entrusted to them. That loss changed you. It made you cautious. It made you reflective, but it did not make you bitter. That restraint is evidence of growth. Other weight came from obedience. Saying no when it cost you opportunity. Walking away when staying would have been easier. Choosing truth when compromise promised faster results. Obedience is heavy because it requires foresight. You carried consequences before rewards. You carried conviction before clarity. And that delayed gratification tested you more than any visible opposition ever could. There were days when you asked God why it had to be you, why you couldn't be carefree, why your path seemed steeper, why you were always required to understand, to forgive, to endure. But what you were really asking was whether the weight meant something, whether it had purpose, whether it would ever be lifted or transformed. Here is the truth you are now ready to hear. The weight was not meant to crush you. It was meant to refine you. Pressure reveals composition. Fire exposes impurities. And you have been through both. What remains now is stronger, clearer, and more grounded than what entered the process. You are not who you were when this weight was first placed on you. You have changed. You have grown. This refinement is not theoretical. It is ancient. It has always been the method heaven uses to prepare those who will carry influence without being corrupted by it. The process is uncomfortable because it strips illusion. It removes false confidence and replaces it with quiet authority. You no longer need to prove yourself because you know what you've survived. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms, chapter 66, verse 10. For you, O God, tested us. You refined us as silver is refined. Silver is refined slowly. Heat is applied carefully. Too much, and it is damaged. Too little, and impurities remain. What you experienced was measured, intentional, controlled. Even when it felt overwhelming, it was not chaotic. God was watching the temperature. He was guarding the process. And he did not walk away until reflection replaced residue. This is why you feel different now. Lighter, yet more serious. Softer, yet more discerning. The weight is shifting because its purpose is being fulfilled. What once pressed on you externally is becoming strength within you. The burden is transforming into capacity, and capacity changes how you move forward. You are no longer defined by what you carried, but by what it produced. Wisdom, patience, depth, authority without arrogance, compassion without naivety. These qualities cannot be rushed. They cannot be taught casually. They are forged. As you step into what comes next, you are not empty-handed. You are carrying insight earned through endurance. You are carrying clarity born from pressure. You are carrying resilience shaped by faith. And now, you are being asked to acknowledge that transformation not publicly, not performatively, but intentionally. If this section speaks to the weight you've been carrying, anchor the moment. Comment the phrase, "I stand ready," below. That phrase is not about confidence in yourself. It is about willingness. It means you recognize the process mattered. It means you are no longer resisting the weight, but understanding it. It means you are prepared to move forward not as someone burdened, but as someone refined. Obedience is often praised in theory, but rarely honored in practice. Especially when obedience invites misunderstanding. Especially when it guarantees whispers. Especially when it costs reputation before it reveals purpose. You are learning this now, but this lesson is not new. It is echoed through sacred history carried by those who chose alignment over approval. One of the clearest stories is not about a warrior or a king, but about a young woman whose obedience rewrote destiny while exposing her to judgment. Mary was not powerful by position. She was not influential by status. She was ordinary by every visible measure. Yet heaven chose her, not because she was loud, but because she was willing. Not because she was seen, but because she was surrendered. When the message came to her, it did not come wrapped in safety. It came wrapped in risk. Acceptance would mean suspicion. Agreement would mean gossip. Obedience would mean her name would be questioned long before it would ever be honored. Imagine the moment, a divine interruption, a revelation that defied logic, a calling that would immediately put her character on trial. Mary understood the cost even if she did not understand the full plan. She knew what people would say. She knew the law. She knew the social consequences. She knew obedience would isolate her. And yet she did not bargain. She did not ask for guarantees. She did not request protection from opinion. She chose alignment anyway. This is where her story mirrors yours more than you realize. You too have been asked to obey without being able to explain everything. You too have felt the tension of knowing the right choice would not be the popular one. You too have understood that obedience sometimes invites misunderstanding before it produces fruit. And like Mary, You have had to decide whether faith would govern your actions, or fear would. Mary's obedience did not silence the whispers. It intensified them. People talked. Assumptions were made. Her purity was questioned. Her integrity doubted. Her future threatened. Obedience did not shield her from criticism, it exposed her to it. But what people could not see was that heaven was already at work beyond their perception. God did not rush to correct the narrative. He allowed time to reveal truth. And that waiting required extraordinary trust. There are seasons when God will not defend you publicly, not because he is absent, but because he is strategic. Vindication too early can interrupt formation. Mary had to carry both promise and pressure at the same time. She carried life while carrying judgment. And that dual weight shaped her strength. She learned to hold peace while being misunderstood. She learned to remain steady while her reputation was unstable. You have been learning that same discipline, to walk forward without constant validation, to obey without explanation, to trust that what God placed inside you matters more than what people say about you. This kind of obedience is quiet, but it is powerful. It does not announce itself. It does not defend itself. It simply moves forward, anchored in conviction. Mary's obedience was not passive. It was active surrender. She did not say yes because it was easy. She said yes because it was true. That distinction matters. Easy obedience requires no faith. True obedience always does, and true obedience always attracts resistance. Darkness questions what it cannot control. People criticize what they do not understand. But heaven advances through those who are willing to be misunderstood. What sustained Mary was not public approval, but private assurance. She knew who had spoken to her. She knew the voice she had heard, and that certainty outweighed the noise around her. You are being asked to cultivate the same anchor. Not confidence in outcome, but confidence in calling. Not clarity of process, but clarity of obedience. There is a holy stillness required to endure this phase. A restraint that keeps you from over-explaining. A humility that resists the urge to defend yourself. Mary did not argue her case in the streets. She pondered things in her heart. She trusted that truth, once born, would speak for itself. And it did. As the angel's message concluded, it is recorded in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 1, verse 38. I am the Lord's servant. Mary answered, may your word to me be fulfilled. Those words were not poetic. They were costly. They marked the moment obedience overrode fear. They sealed a future she could not yet see. And they remind you that obedience does not require full understanding, only full surrender. Your obedience may not look dramatic. It may be quiet decisions, private sacrifices, internal alignments no one applauds, but heaven sees them. And like Mary, you are carrying something that will one day speak louder than the rumors, louder than the resistance, louder than the doubt. Purpose has a voice of its own. It does not need defense. It needs time. As you continue forward, remember this story when obedience feels lonely. Remember it when whispers arise. Remember it when silence from heaven feels confusing. God is not ignoring you. He is trusting you to carry what is holy without needing immediate validation. If this story resonates with your own journey of quiet obedience, take a small moment to honor it. Gently like this message if it speaks to you. Share it with someone who may be struggling under the weight of misunderstood obedience. And subscribe so you remain connected to these unfolding truths. Sometimes the most powerful encouragement is simply knowing you are not alone in the process. There comes a moment when what has been hidden begins to surface, not all at once, not loudly, but unmistakably. You may feel it already, a shift in perception, a sharpening of insight, a growing discomfort with surface-level explanations. This is not restlessness returning. This is revelation approaching. What is about to be revealed to you could not have been entrusted earlier. Because revelation without readiness becomes a burden instead of a gift. For a long time, you were protected from knowledge that would have overwhelmed you. There are truths that require stability before they can be carried safely. That is why clarity often comes after endurance, not before it. You had to learn restraint before authority, discernment before influence, humility before insight. Now those foundations are in place, and because they are, heaven can begin to unveil what was once concealed. Revelation does not always arrive as new information. Often, it comes as recognition. Things you sensed before now make sense. Patterns you noticed but could not name suddenly align. Conversations from years ago resurface with new meaning. You begin to understand why certain paths were blocked, why specific doors closed firmly, why timing mattered more than effort. Revelation connects the fragments of your journey into coherence. This unveiling can feel disorienting at first, not because it is wrong, but because it rearranges your internal structure. What you once tolerated becomes impossible to ignore. What you once chased loses its appeal. What you once feared no longer holds the same weight. Revelation does not add pressure, it redistributes it. It shifts your center of gravity from external validation to internal alignment. You may notice that your patience has changed. You are less reactive but more resolute, less eager to explain but more committed to truth. This is not detachment, it is maturity. When revelation increases, so does responsibility. You cannot unknow what you now see, and that awareness calls you to live differently, speak differently, and choose differently. What is being revealed is not meant to isolate you further, but to position you accurately. Some people will no longer resonate with you, not because you are superior, but because you are no longer tuned to the same frequency. This is a natural outcome of growth. Revelation refines alignment. It clarifies where you belong, where you do not, and where you are being sent. You are also beginning to understand the nature of authority. True authority does not dominate. It carries weight without force. It influences without striving. It flows from integrity, not performance. The revelation you are receiving is not about control, it is about stewardship. You are being entrusted with insight so you can serve, guide, protect, and illuminate. And that trust is sacred. There is a temptation at this stage to rush to speak everything at once, to act prematurely to prove what you now see. But revelation requires pacing. Wisdom knows when to hold silence and when to speak. Not every truth must be broadcast. Some truths must be embodied before they are expressed. You are learning discernment not just of content, but of timing. This phase also exposes resistance. When revelation draws near, opposition becomes subtle. Doubt may present itself as logic. Fear may disguise itself as caution. Old habits may resurface, asking for familiarity. But you are not the same person who entered the process. You can recognize resistance now without being ruled by it. Awareness has strengthened you. Throughout history, those entrusted with revelation were often misunderstood before they were recognized. Insight threatens established comfort. Light disrupts familiar darkness. But revelation is not given to impress, it is given to guide. And guidance always begins inward before it moves outward. There is a sacred pattern to this unveiling. What is revealed to you privately will one day benefit others publicly, but only after it has transformed you personally. You are not being shown these things for ego or elevation. You are being shown them for alignment. Alignment with truth, alignment with purpose, alignment with timing. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew chapter 13, verse 11, "The knowledge of the secrets of the kingdom of heaven has been given to you." This statement was not made to the crowds. It was spoken to those who had chosen to follow closely, to listen deeply, to remain when others walked away. Revelation is relational. It is given to those who stay near, who endure confusion without abandoning trust. You have stayed, and because you have, insight is being released. What you are receiving now will require humility to carry and courage to apply. You may not yet see how it will unfold, but you will recognize when the time comes to act. Until then, remain grounded, remain attentive, remain aligned. Revelation unfolds in layers, and each layer prepares you for the next. If this sense of unveiling resonates with you, if you feel that clarity is forming and purpose is sharpening, mark the moment. Comment the number 777 below. That number is not about superstition. It is a signal of alignment and completion. It represents readiness to receive what has been prepared and willingness to steward it responsibly. Let it be your acknowledgement that you recognize the season you are entering and the insight you are being entrusted with. Saying yes is often imagined as a single moment, a decisive answer that settles everything. But in reality, yes is a path, not a point. It is a series of choices that continue long after the initial surrender. You are discovering that now. The deeper you move into alignment, the clearer the cost becomes. Not because God hides it from you, but because you could not have carried the full weight of it earlier. Understanding grows with capacity. The cost of saying yes is rarely paid up front. It unfolds gradually. First, it costs comfort, then it costs familiarity. Eventually, it costs versions of yourself that no longer fit where you are going. This can feel like loss, even when it is necessary. You begin to grieve things that are not sinful, not wrong, just no longer aligned. Old rhythms, old identities, old dreams that once made sense but now feel hollow. Letting go of them is not failure, it is focus. Resistance often intensifies after commitment. You may have noticed that the moment you decided to move forward, obstacles appeared with new precision. Doubt sharpened, fatigue deepened, temptation grew subtle. This is not coincidence. Alignment attracts opposition because it threatens stagnation. Saying yes disrupts patterns that benefited from your hesitation. And disruption is never ignored. There is also an internal cost. You can no longer pretend ignorance. You can no longer blame circumstance for choices you now see clearly. Awareness brings responsibility. Responsibility brings pressure. You are held to a higher standard not by others but by your own conscience. What once felt optional now feels necessary. What once felt negotiable now feels sacred. This is not heaviness. It is integrity forming. You may feel misunderstood in this season, not because you are unclear, but because your direction no longer matches familiar expectations. People may question your decisions, your pace, your priorities. Some will assume you have changed for the worse because you no longer participate in what once bonded you. But growth often looks like distance before it looks like fruit. The cost of saying yes includes being willing to be misinterpreted without becoming defensive. Another cost is patience. Saying yes does not guarantee immediate results. In fact, obedience often slows visible progress while accelerating internal alignment. You are learning to trust process over pace, to value depth over display, to remain faithful when affirmation is absent. This kind of patience is costly because it denies the ego quick reward, but it strengthens the spirit. You may also encounter spiritual resistance that feels heavier than before. Old fears resurface. Old patterns attempt to reclaim ground. This is not regression. It is exposure. What rises now rises to be resolved, not to rule you. Saying yes brings unresolved things into the light so they can no longer operate unnoticed. Healing often intensifies before it stabilizes. The cost also includes solitude at new levels. Even when people are around you, fewer will truly understand what you are carrying. This is not isolation by accident. It is focus by design. Certain assignments require clarity that cannot survive constant explanation. You are learning when to speak and when silence preserves strength. Not everyone is meant to walk every mile with you. There is a temptation in this phase to romanticize the cost, to wear it as proof of devotion. But true obedience is not performative. It does not seek recognition for sacrifice. It simply remains faithful, quietly, consistently. Even when no one is watching, even when results are delayed, even when the weight feels personal. What sustains you through this is not willpower, but assurance. Assurance that the cost has purpose. Assurance that what you are relinquishing is not being wasted. Assurance that God is not extracting from you, but preparing you. Preparation often feels like subtraction before it feels like empowerment. But nothing essential is ever taken, only what would eventually limit you. This pattern is not unique to you. It has marked every life that moved from calling into fulfillment. The cost is the refining edge that keeps purpose pure. Without it, influence corrupts. Without it, authority becomes fragile. You are being strengthened not just to say yes once, but to keep saying yes when it becomes inconvenient. The apostle reminds us in his letter to the Corinthians, chapter 15, verse 58. Therefore, my beloved brothers, be steadfast, immovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, knowing that your labor is not in vain. This verse does not promise ease. It promises meaning. Steadfastness is costly. Immovable conviction requires pressure to resist. Abounding effort demands endurance. But the assurance is clear: nothing given in obedience is wasted. Not the time, not the tears, not the restraint, not the sacrifices no one else saw. You are learning that saying yes is not about heroic moments, but about daily alignment. Choosing truth over convenience, choosing integrity over speed, choosing faithfulness over familiarity. These choices accumulate quietly, shaping a foundation that will not collapse when responsibility increases. There will come a time when the cost makes sense in hindsight, when what felt like loss reveals itself as protection, when what felt like delay reveals itself as precision. Until then, you walk by trust, not by sight, and that trust is not blind. It is informed by everything you have already survived. Saying yes has changed you, not instantly, gradually, deeply. You are more grounded now, less reactive, more discerning. You carry less noise and more clarity. This is evidence that the cost is working, that refinement is taking place, that alignment is not theoretical, it is active. The journey is not over, but you are no longer questioning whether the yes was worth it. You are learning how to carry it. You did not walk this far to remain unseen. You did not endure refinement, isolation, obedience, and cost just to return unchanged. What you are stepping into now is not a reward, it is a commissioning. Quiet, deliberate, unmistakable. You are marked, not by noise, but by alignment. Sent, not by impulse, but by preparation. Sealed, not by human approval, but by divine intent. Being marked does not mean being flawless. It means being claimed. It means there is now a clarity on your life that cannot be negotiated away. You move differently because you see differently. You speak less, but with more weight. You react slower, but with greater discernment. This is not distance, it is depth. You have crossed a threshold where surface-level living no longer satisfies you. What once entertained you now distracts you. What once impressed you now feels empty. This is the evidence of marking. Being sent does not always mean relocation. Sometimes it means returning to familiar spaces with unfamiliar authority. You come back changed, even if your surroundings look the same. People may not immediately recognize what has shifted, but they will feel it. Presence carries power when it has been refined. You do not need to announce your growth. It announces itself through restraint, wisdom, and timing. There is a temptation to rush this phase to prove something, to validate the process, to demonstrate that the cost meant something. Resist that urge. Sent ones move with precision, not urgency. They understand that timing multiplies impact. You are not late. You are aligned, and alignment always outperforms haste. Being sealed means what has been established cannot be easily undone. It does not mean you will never face resistance. It means resistance will no longer confuse you. You recognize it now. You understand its patterns. You no longer personalize what was never about you. This maturity is protection. It keeps you from wasting energy on battles that are not assigned to you. The sealing also brings peace, not the absence of challenge, but the presence of assurance. You are no longer trying to earn direction. You are walking in it. You are no longer asking who you are. You are becoming it. And becoming requires patience, consistency, and humility. The work ahead is not glamorous, but it is meaningful. It will require you to stay grounded when visibility increases and stay teachable when affirmation comes. Do not underestimate the influence of your return. Some will watch silently. Some will question privately. Some will feel exposed by your clarity. But others quietly, desperately will be strengthened simply by witnessing someone who chose alignment over applause. This is how light works. It does not argue. It illuminates. There will be moments when you miss the safety of obscurity, when responsibility feels heavier than preparation ever did. When you long for simpler days, that does not mean you are off course. It means you are human. Even those who are sent must continually return inward to remain anchored. Reflection will keep you steady. Humility will keep you clear. You are not being sent to dominate, but to serve. Not to impress, but to influence. Not to control outcomes, but to steward truth. Your authority will not come from volume, but from consistency. People will trust you because you are predictable in character, not dramatic in speech. This is rare, and it is needed. The world is loud right now, reactive, fragmented, starved for integrity. That is why those who have been refined in silence matter so deeply. You are not meant to compete with noise. You are meant to counter it with clarity. And clarity does not shout. It stands. There is an ancient assurance given to those who are sent not as a guarantee of comfort, but as a promise of presence. As was spoken in the sacred texts of old, in the book of Romans chapter 8, verse 30. Those he predestined, he also called. Those he called, he also justified. Those he justified, he also glorified. Notice the sequence. Called, justified, glorified. There is process between calling and fulfillment. You have walked that process. you are still walking it. Glory, in its truest form, is not spotlight, it is alignment fulfilled. It is becoming who you were always meant to be without needing permission from the world. As you move forward, remain gentle with yourself. Growth does not mean hardness. Strength does not mean rigidity. Stay open, stay discerning, stay anchored. What you carry now is not fragile, but it is sacred. Protect it from cynicism. Protect it from comparison. Protect it from hurry. If this journey has resonated with you, if you felt seen, steadied, or strengthened along the way, consider staying connected. Gently like this message so it can reach others who may be walking this path quietly. Share it with someone who needs reassurance that their obedience is not invisible. And if you feel led, subscribe so you can continue receiving these reflections as you move forward. Growth is not meant to be walked entirely alone. You are not returning to life as it was. You are stepping into life as it is meant to be, intentional, aligned, and awake. Marked not for display, but for purpose. Sent not in haste, but in readiness. Sealed not by perfection, but by faithfulness. Before you leave this moment, don't rush to label it or contain it. Let it remain open. Some messages are not meant to close neatly. They are meant to linger, to echo softly in the quiet spaces of your life where decisions are made and direction is chosen. What you've just heard is not an ending. It is a pause, a breath between who you were and who you are becoming. You don't need to force meaning out of it right now. Understanding will arrive in layers, often when you're not looking for it. Later, in an ordinary moment, a sentence may resurface, a feeling may return, a truth may settle deeper than it did before. That is how alignment works. It unfolds gradually, not dramatically. Take what resonates and let the rest go. You are not required to prove anything, explain anything, or respond in any specific way. Awareness is already a response. Reflection is already movement. Sometimes the most powerful shifts happen quietly, without announcement, without witnesses. If this message brought clarity, let that clarity guide you gently. If it stirred discomfort, sit with it without judgment. Discomfort is often the doorway to growth, and if it brought peace, allow yourself to rest in it without questioning why. Peace does not need justification. You are not being asked to rush forward. You are being invited to walk attentively, step by step, choice by choice, with honesty, with patience, with courage that does not need to be loud. And if, at any point, you feel moved to share this message with someone who might need it, or to return to it later, that option is there. Not as an obligation, but as an extension of connection. Meaning travels best when it is offered freely. For now, simply carry what feels true. Let it settle. Let it work quietly. And continue on your path aware, grounded, and open.